This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We're in the state capitol today in Sacramento, and we are joined by the Republican leader of the California State Senate. Her name is Jean Fuller. Madam Leader, it's so good to speak with you. You've been on the job 6 months or so.
Yes.
How is it to be the leader of the California State Senate Republican caucus?
Very busy.
I can only imagine. But even so, tell me more about kind of the ins and outs, the daily life of a leader. What is it like for you?
Well, the daily life is to make sure that the Senate Republican caucus, first of all, and all of its members are well informed on all the issues, that they have all the tools they need to get their press out, and to make sure that they understand the rules of the floor and the rules of the House.
Now, let me ask you, how is it to be the leader of the party that is in the minority? You know, it does seem as if, and maybe I'm Pollyanna, that the Democrats and Republicans actually get along fairly well in Sacramento.
Yes.
Maybe I'm Pollyanna, I don't know. But am I saying it correctly that you do seem to try to work together?
Well, most people don't get elected unless they're charming.
Well stated, well stated,
So
and you are very charming.
So the very first day, we all meet each other, and we think, oh, how exciting and how charming all these wonderful people are. We're going to have a great time.
Right.
And then as we begin to get into the issues, we begin to find the divides. And then as we get a little further along, we start, well, you know how some families, even best families, fight over money a little bit. Well, we start doing that.
But the question is the divide over issues, or does it start to get personal? Because our friends in Washington, D.C., it seems as if those divides have become personal, whereas from where I sit, it seems as if in Sacramento, look, it's still politics, but look, I see, walk around town, you're at restaurants with each other. Is that a facade, or are you trying to work together?
Well, in the Senate, because most of us have worked with each other in the Assembly, it's a different group. We're much more collegial.
That's nice.
We have longer terms, and we've spent more time with each other. So most of us have learned how to take what we like and to roll with what we don't like. But still, there are times when it gets very heated for some of us.
Let's talk about what's on your mind right now, Shirley, and that's the state budget.
Yes.
Governor Brown has issued a proposed budget, his January budget, and I received press releases from the Republican caucus. I received press releases from the Democratic caucus. The Republican caucus's press release seemed a little more rosy than the Democrats. I mean, some have called Jerry Brown the best Republican governor we've had in decades. You know, what is it about this governor that, at least on budgetary matters, the Republicans seem to appreciate his approach, at least on some issues?
Well, we worked very hard together for the Rainy Day Fund, and we're very happy that he actually filled the Rainy Day Fund, that we're moving forward, trying to protect our state against disasters, natural disasters, and other kinds of things. So I think that's the starting point. The other thing is that there is a lot more money this year. Again, you know, last year was $10 billion unanticipated revenue. This year there's like over 3, maybe 5. And we haven't even counted it all yet when it comes in from taxes.
Of course.
So we are very excited that he is saying no new programs, backfill when we had to make those cuts, and not raise taxes.
So in your mind, when we do have this additional revenue, on what should it be spent? Should it be spent on paying down debt? Should it be spent on one-time programs, maybe a construction project for a group of schools in Kern County, let's say, or something like that? Where should the money go?
Well, you're a mind reader.
I am a mind reader, of course.
We believe that if we would pay down the interest, even more than the governor has done, he is paying the minimum amount. It's like paying the $15 on your credit card rather than paying off the lump sum. He could pay off more with some of the money, but we are excited that he is paying down debt. That's the number one. It saves the interest, and it improves our credit rating. And
Clearly,
if we have a better credit rating, then we can actually build more infrastructure and some of the things that we need. Our highways are crumbling, and we have water needs, and we want those one-time expenditures to be used now while there's one-time money.
So let's talk about our roads, the drought, although are we in a drought anymore? It's hard to know. But there is consensus on a need to improve our roads, to build some form of dam somewhere. When is that going to happen?
Well, we've actually put money aside from the last water bond to build that, and we're working on that, but every day there are efforts to chip away at that effort, so we need to continue to work to that end. And no, we're not out of the drought. We are in an El Nino, which we need to capture every drop. We don't want it just running out to the sea. We need to relieve the suffering.
But you know better than I. We are in an El Nino. The time is now to capture the water.
Absolutely.
And so how can we capture the water if we're not, raising Lake Shasta's height or
I totally agree. And that's one of the things we're working very hard on. And I went to the U.S. Department of Interior a month ago and talked to them, sent a letter to the governor and the president basically saying that we need to capture all of this water, we need to store it, and we need to continue to find flexible ways to move it.
Are your friends on the Democratic side on board with these matters?
Some. Actually, there's a moderate group of Democrats, mostly from the Valley area, that also support those issues. But as a whole, areas that have their own dams, such as Hetch Hetchy in San Francisco, they really don't feel the need the way we do.
The water wars continue.
Yes, the water wars continue.
Let's talk about taxes. The governor appears to be firm that he does not want to see an extension of Proposition 30 in any form. That being said, there is one issue as it relates to taxes that it appears needs to be fixed, and that deals with taxes on health plans, the MCO tax. As we speak today, what the law says in California is that those that provide Medicaid, Medi-Cal, they will be taxed. Those that don't will not. The federal government has said you need to tax all, you can't pick and choose. And so the governor is looking to create a scenario where that's leveled out, where everyone is taxed to avoid the loss of federal funds. I know some in the Republican caucus are a little queasy about that. Have you coalesced on an issue
well, actually,
like this?
we have been looking at that very closely. There is a new deal that the governor has proposed recently. All the details aren't out. We'll probably get them Wednesday or Thursday. We'll be looking at them. I think, but the biggest problem for us is why would we want more taxes when we already had $10 billion extra money last year? We have $3 billion or more this year, and it's not written into the budget. We have a balanced budget without that money.
So what do we do then when we have the federal government saying, if you don't make this tax apply to all health plans, we will take away $1.23 billion.
As long as California can afford it, which we can currently afford it, I think that we actually were in a good place because that funding only lasts for a couple of years and then it's up to us to do all.
Should we remove the tax even on the entities that provide Medicaid?
I think that we're basically thinking that if they provide a service and there's a nexus, even though we Republicans don't like taxes, then that's okay to leave it. But I don't think that stretching this to a whole new level where the workers basically are going to end up having to pay for that.
What about
those who work in companies who would then have to pass it along?
What about the gas tax? Again, you can point to lots of different statistics and studies, and some say the gas tax has an increase since 1992. I think that's true, and when you consider inflation, it's lower than what it was in 1992. But then you can look at it differently and say, no, we have seen some increased revenue.
Well, yeah, actually, we have enough money to fund all those. It's a matter of priorities. And of course, the Republican priorities are debt first, infrastructure second, and education third, being backfilled, which they did, and individuals with developmental disabilities. Also, we think that money needs to be put back. And those are our priorities, and there was plenty of money to do that. But when we move back to saying, so what should we do about some of those areas? Well, our problem with Republicans is that it takes one of us to actually pass a new tax or fee.
Because of the 2/3
Yes,
majority,
and once we do that, then they only takes a majority vote to reroute the money to other causes. And that's what happened to the transportation money in the first place, is that those weight fees and those gas tax was rerouted to other causes in the general fund. And so our stance is we want that money put back first, and we want guarantees that it stays there, and we want Caltrans to become more efficient.
Can you get guarantees?
We haven't gotten them yet, but there certainly are.
But it's possible to get them.
Constitutional amendments and those kinds of things.
Her name is Jean Fuller. She is the Republican leader in the California State Senate. My name is Brad Pomerance in Sacramento. This is Local Edition.